Honestly, I believe that Switzerland doesn't have much of a choice when it comes to international markets, because already now Switzerland, by the way, like Austria, earns every second franken in the world. So Switzerland will need global customers and will need also global brains to come to Switzerland to work here and to participate in creating wealth.
But to do that, does Switzerland need to be closer to Brussels?
Closeness to Brussels is a thorny subject, even inside the European Union. So I do not see that closeness to Brussels is a criterion. What I believe is that the markets, the people are closely connected on this continent and will get even more closely connected with pressures also from the non-European world.
Do you ever see that Switzerland will be part of the EU?
This is a question the Swiss and the Swiss people will have to decide. For the time being, I think they have a good choice in living with more than 120 bilateral agreements. That seems to be a tailor-made solution for Swiss ambitions on one hand and for what the European Union wants on the other side. So I do not look into the crystal ball that far. They should not exclude it, by the way. They should not exclude this as an option.
But Peter Grunenfelder, the director of Avenir Suisse, I mean, he's saying that Switzerland is in an absolute paralysis and returning to the past. So something needs to change.
Well, this is a subject matter for every single society. Change, Veränderung, and to continue to do what made you wealthy, what made you safe. Switzerland has always been one of the most innovative countries, so Switzerland will continue to be innovative, not only when it comes to products and services, but also when it comes to politics.
But not necessarily so when you look at their position in the future in regards to Europe, because some decisions will have to be made, whether we go down the kind of full-on Scandinavian situation here in Switzerland, or we do something completely different and just go it alone. I mean, these will all have different implications for our economy, for our populations, for unemployment levels, for our own economic prosperity. Yes. Do you think it's the people who need persuading on each of these levels, or perhaps it's more at a political level?
Well, there's nothing you can do without or against the people in Switzerland and in democracies worldwide. So what I think is important is to engage in a dialogue, to engage in a conversation that does not shy away from asking questions. The difficult moment comes for a society when you don't ask yourself questions any longer, and the right kind of questions.
And when it comes to that change, how do we negotiate change for the better?
This need for change will have to be negotiated inside the various Switzerlands, because Switzerland is a very diverse country, more diverse than other countries. Switzerland as a nation is a construction of will and voluntarism in a way, more so than other nations. And this is a feature that Switzerland will keep. So this will be decided in the first place inside Switzerland, among the through the people and among the political parties.
And is this maybe then the biggest challenge facing these discussions, is the diversity within Switzerland?
I don't think it's the diversity as such that is the biggest challenge. I think it's the biggest challenge is to face fear. Probably in modern politics, it's not, or contemporary politics, it's not so much a unique proposition for Switzerland. But in Europe, what we face in politics is an aging and, compared to a worldwide level, a very wealthy, prosperous society or collection of societies, if you want. So it is quite obvious that if you are an elderly and rapidly aging society, and if you're wealthy, that you will have one predominant feeling or emotion that can be addressed also on the political level, and that is the fear to lose something. I think that is the greatest challenge, to address the fears that are underlying in our societies and to give a positive outlook on the future, to give people confidence that whatever comes their way, they will be able to cope with it.
Is there the mentality that we should be able to cherry pick what we want for the benefit of Switzerland? Is that possibly a problem?
Honestly,
cherry picking.
Honestly, I don't like the cherry picking metaphor very much, because especially in the month of June, everybody likes cherry picking. So it's not, again, it's not a unique feature of Swiss politics. I think that it's about optimizing your opportunities, and that is something that we do in the European Union, that Switzerland does, and a lot of other countries. So whether you call that cherry picking or not, it's become very much a negative notion. So I wouldn't want to go down that way. I think the Swiss are sober about their future relations and the possibilities, but also the limits of what their present relationship with the European Union can give them.
In your experience and in your opinion, what is it that we really don't want to give up?
The Sonderfall mentality. This is the one thing that strikes me. As a former foreign minister, I try to tell students who or pupils who who confront me with this argument, but you just have to understand we are different. We are a Sonderfall here in Switzerland. I usually remind them that the United Nations is composed of 193 member states, and each and every one of them, from Afghanistan to Zimbabwe, wants to be treated as a Sonderfall, as unique, and has a right to be treated as a unique kind of country and kind of nation. So I think that is a mental obstacle that I can see as a friendly neighbor, if you want, that worries me the most.
Of the options that are available to Switzerland in the future when it comes to the EU and negotiations there, where is it most likely that we'll find ourselves?
I think that the bilateral negotiations, the bilateral agreements that Switzerland or the Swiss negotiators have so skillfully managed and concluded are an excellent option for the time being. Like a smartphone or other technical appliances, they need an update. Every once in a while, we are now negotiating an update, if you want, on with the institutional framework agreement. This is the next realistic step, I would say. Further than that, I would not want to go in speculations. I have been here in Switzerland in '92 when the Swiss were to voted on the European Economic Area. I would have never thought that the Swiss would reject the EEA, as it is called. And of course, the Swiss could have decided in a different way. The margin was very small. So it's not an absolute truth now. It's not the end of the road yet. There will be new developments, and Switzerland will also, given the context of international politics, have to take decisions as they go along.
Do you think that vote back in 1992 really shaped the Switzerland of today?
Yes.
You say it was a small margin, but we've gone kind of really all in on that.
Yes.
Yes.
And it also shows that, a decision taken by a small margin can be a game changer or very decisive for quite a long time.